Alright guys, what's going on? Bill Markey coming at you once again. And today's topic of discussion is going to be none other than X-Men #1, the very first issue for the 1960s, written by Stan Lee, art by Jack Kirby, the legends themselves. Let's get into it. When it comes to the X-Men series, this is my first foray into it. I'm a DC guy, just putting it out there. When I was actively going to the comic shops, I was only buying DC and some Dark Horse Star Wars titles. But I knew that if I was ever to get into the Marvel universe, I would want to do it through the X-Men, because it seems like with the X-Men, I really felt like, with the fandom and everything, I really felt like I was missing out when it came to X-Men. So, here I am all these years later. I bought the omnibus. Everybody said you could skip the original run, the 60s run or whatever, because it only gets good, I guess, when Wolverine and all them get in there, and Chris Claremont run, which is my ultimate goal with this series, is to read through all the way through the Chris Claremont run, which lasts 15 years and is considered to be the greatest run in all of comics, but I guess we'll see. So anyway, when I was researching the X-Men, like where to start and all that stuff, you get all these starting points. But I realized that, like the original run, the 60s run, the Silver Age run, whatever you want to call it, it's only like 66 issues. And I ain't no bitch, so I could read 66 issues just so I could, fully get the backstory before I jump ahead into, giant size X-Men #1 or whatever the hell it was called when it relaunched, and became what it is today, the X-Men. So, starting here with issue 1, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. Let's go. I guess I'll start off with like a brief recap of the issue. These old books, they're written differently than the modern comics of today. They try to give you like a full story each issue. So I'm not sure how I really want to cover these. Do I want to do it issue by issue, or do I want to lump a few together? With this first video, it's going to be just the first issue because it is, the #1. But in the future, I don't know how I'm going to handle it because these issues, they're kind of dense. I thought maybe I'll, couple a bunch together, then I'm forgetting what happened and just like bleeding. One issue's bleeding into the next. So, also, I don't know if I want to do like recaps of every issue or just like get my thoughts on the issues, like what did I like, what I disliked about the issue, because it's kind of one is saying like, if I like, Magneto or whatever, then I like what he did in the issue. But if I didn't like Magneto, like runs away in this one like a little bitch, but I guess you gotta live to fight another day, right? Can't be killing all your villains in issue 1. So I don't know. I'll decide. But anyway, I'm gonna start this one with a quick recap of what goes down in this one. So we start off at the Westchester School for the Gifted or whatever it's called. Professor X, he summons in the boys, and they start training. And as they're training, Professor X senses that the new student's here. Student being Jean Grey. So everybody is like losing their mind over Jean Grey. Oh, it's a girl, because before it was all boys. So now there's finally a woman here in the X Mansion. So everybody's like, oh wow, except for one guy, Iceman, but we're gonna get to him later. And so they all go down to meet her as she's introduced, to the class, and we find out that she has telepathy, so she can like move stuff with her mind, and that's her power, and everybody's really impressed. Then we cut to like Magneto, who is using his magnetic powers to destroy rockets that I guess the U.S. government is sending up there for for whatever reason. It's really just a way to introduce the villain, and then he later goes on to take over a military camp using his magnetic powers, different ways to repel the bullets and to rip open fences and all this stuff. It's really a cool display of Magneto, and it tells you a little bit about what you need to know about who he is and his motives, because he is an evil mutant, unlike the X-Men, who are the good mutants. But we'll get more into that later. So, of course, Professor X decides to send the X-Men to take on Magneto at what he calls a baptism of fire. So they go to the military base, and, Cyclops leads the charge against Magneto, and all the X-Men, they get a chance to shine. They get their moment in the fight, and Magneto ultimately flees, to live to fight another day. And that's your issue in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot of little character moments and stuff in there, but I want you to read that for yourself. That's why with these recaps, I kind of want you to like brush over them and get to what I liked and what I disliked about the issue. So here we go. Since this is the first issue, I want to talk a little bit about the team. Uh, we got Hank McCoy, who is the Beast, who is human. I thought Beast was blue, but here he's like a human guy. Didn't know that was going to happen. We also got Bobby Drake, who is the Iceman, who is said in this issue to be 16 years old and also the youngest X-Man, where Beast is the oldest, but we're not given an age on him. So we also got Cyclops, who in this issue goes by the name Slim Summers. I thought it was Scott Summers, but maybe he was always Slim in the beginning. Who knows? And of course, the Angel, Warren Worthington III. Not really familiar with Angel. Like I said, I really only know the movie X-Men team, but I don't know who Angel is. But here he is. And of course, we got Jean Grey joining them, known as Marvel Girl, which I guess I didn't know that was her name. I thought she was just Jean Grey. Well, I guess you learn something new every day. Also, I forgot to mention we got Professor X, who is I guess the most powerful mutant of them all. And as far as the villain, Magneto. So what is that? So even if we include Magneto here, that's 7 mutants we're introduced to in this issue. So that's pretty good. As for what I liked about the issue, I gotta start off with Jack Kirby's art. I've heard a lot about Jack throughout the years. They call him the King, and I guess for a reason, and that reason is because his art is pretty dynamic here in the training scenes. One panel flows into the next, which with static art is not really easy to do. You'd think it would be, but I've read a lot of comics that has great art where the art is just there. It's static. It's stale. There's no like movement. You know what I'm saying if you read comics, right? Sometimes the art just flows nice, and Jack has a nice flow to his art. The story, it's just an introductory story. The villain takes over a military base, and the X-Men come in and thwart his plans, and he runs away. I think it served its purpose as a good introduction. Like I said, it introduced us to 7 mutants. This is all new for me, but it's all new for the readers because it's issue 1, the very first issue of X-Men. So I feel like it drops us in there. It gives us enough information about the school, what's going on there. You get these character interactions, see little bits of their personality, and we get off to the races with the fight against the ultimate big bad, which is Magneto from the X-Men. From what I can understand, I think he's like the Joker to the Batman or whatever. But maybe there's a bigger villain than him down the road. I don't know. As far as dislikes for the issue, it's really just Magneto running away. I thought that was lame, but I have to put myself in the mindset that these are like Silver Age 60s issues. They're trying to give us a complete story each magazine, so it's not always necessarily going to be. And it's a serial, it runs issue to issue. So some are going to be weaker, some are going to be stronger, some are going to be 2-parters, and so on and so forth. But as for like the first issue, like it's good, but I kind of expected more, to be honest. And I guess we get that in giant size X-Men, right? There's a reason why this first team failed and the book was canceled. I'm not saying it's this issue or even Stan and Jack's run, which I guess goes for like 20 issues, and they pass the torch. But I'm not really expecting the best of the X in these first 66 issues. But we'll see. Anyway, to bring this first issue to a close, I'm going to go ahead and give it, we got introduced to the team. We got a complete story here, even if it was a little unsatisfactory at the end. I'm going to go ahead and give this first issue of X-Men a 3 out of 5. I got to hope it gets better from here. But it could also get worse, but I don't know. Like I said, this is my first foray, dipping my toes into the X-Men. I hear a lot of good things. They just come a little bit later. I took it upon myself to read these early issues, so I'm not going to be too harsh on them. But I do want to give you guys, an accurate reading on how I feel about the issues in case you're going to read them yourself, or you have read them yourself, or you're thinking about getting into X-Men, but you're considering skipping this era. So, there could be a lot of reasons why you tune into this video. Who knows? But like I said, this one, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. There's a lot to like, not really a lot to dislike, but it's just an introduction. I'm hoping that as things roll on, character relationships and the dynamics and stuff get better, and I understand more. So, thanks for watching.